Hi, welcome all to CE for Civil Engineering classes. So in this session, we'll be discussing through some objectives in the irrigation engineering. So first of all, we'll go through the chapter that is an introduction chapter which covers some introductory part regarding the irrigation as well as the types of irrigation. So we'll be discussing 10 questions in this lecture. The remaining questions will be uploaded soon in the upcoming lectures. So the first question is, name the type of irrigation where a storage weir is constructed across a river or water is stored in a reservoir or lake. Now, the correct answer for this question is tank irrigation. So we'll be discussing what all the other options are. So the first option given is a canal irrigation. So it is an irrigation through a system of canals. That is diverting water through a system of canals. Now, regarding the surface irrigation method, surface irrigation is a method where the water is being applied onto the surface of the land. So it is either by pumping or by gravity, the water will be distributed over that soil. The next option is the tank irrigation. So tank irrigation is a kind of a storage irrigation, or it is another name of a storage irrigation. It is also called as a river valley irrigation also. Now here what happens is that in the tank irrigation system, a barrier across a river such as a dam or a small weir or bund etc. is constructed, and the water is stored in the upstream side, and that stored water is what you call as a reservoir. Okay, so such stored water is being used for irrigation and other purposes, and that is what we call as a tank irrigation. So here it is told a type of irrigation where a storage weir is constructed is being asked. Storage weir means it is a kind of a small dam. Now, when it comes to tank irrigation, it is another name of a storage irrigation. Now, here the tank irrigation, but actually it does not imply large structures like dams. Like in earlier times, small bunds called tankas or tanks were constructed, and these irrigations were more predominant in the southern parts like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, etc. And the stored water from the reservoir was being used for drinking as well as the irrigation purposes. So, from this we need to understand that tank irrigation is another name of a storage irrigation. Now, we'll move on to the next question. Second question is, the irrigation from well is an example of. Options given are storage, lift irrigation, direct irrigation, perennial irrigation. So, we'll see one by one what all are these options. So, first one, storage irrigation, as we saw, that is, it is also called tank irrigation or valley irrigation. Here a barrier like a dam etc. will be constructed, water is stored, and it is being used for irrigation. Now, the second option is a lift irrigation. This is a kind of irrigation where the water is lifted from surface sources, also some subsurface sources, surface or subsurface sources. The water is being lifted, and then it is directly applied to the agricultural land. So, like for example, the well irrigation, you can term it as an example of the lift irrigation, where water is pumped from the well and then it is directly supplied onto the land through some channels. Now, the next option given was a direct irrigation. So, direct irrigation, which is also called as a river canal irrigation system. Here, in the system, some structures such as or a barrier like a weir or barrage is constructed across a river. Now, the purpose of this structure is not to store water, but just to increase the level of the water. So, we'll know that if water is flowing and suppose we create an obstruction like this, of course, there will be an heading up of water. Okay. Now, this heading up of water is what you call as the afflux, which can also be asked as a question. So, the purpose of this weir is just to increase this water level so that it can be diverted through some canals etc. To the fields. Okay, so direct irrigation, the structure constructed is what you call as a weir, and here the purpose is not to store water but just to divert the water. Then perennial irrigation is a kind of irrigation where the irrigation water is supplied throughout the year for the crop or the crop period. Now, the next question is, in the surface method of irrigation, water is applied directly from. Now, in the surface method of irrigation, water is directly applied to the soil surface from a channel at the upper reaches of the field. Like for example, in the surface method, what we do is we'll divide the whole land into a number of portions. Number of channels will be dug throughout the land, and through these channels or the field ditches, water will be circulated, and this water is being then diverted to the field in accordance with the requirements, and that water is being used for raising the crop. So that may be done through different methods, are they border strip, check method, furrow method, etc. The surface methods of irrigation. Then next question is, the drainage coefficient is expressed as depth in dash water drained off from a given area in 24 hours. And options given are meters, foot, inch, centimeters, etc. So first of all, before answering that, we need to know what a drainage coefficient is. So usually if in a certain land the water table is very high, there are chances of waterlogging. So in a such waterlogged land, if there are suitable conditions, we'll sometimes provide some closed drains called tile drains, which are subsurface drains. So the purpose of these drains is to collect these water through seepage, they'll carry and dispose it of somewhere. So what happens is that this water table will get lowered. Okay, so such drains are given, and in that land drainage we use this coefficient to analyze if they are giving the style drainage is beneficial or it is viable or not. So what is a drainage coefficient? It is a rate at which the water is removed by these drains, and its value depends upon rainfall, and it is expressed as depth in centimeters to be removed from 24 hours from a drainage area. So these points we have to understand. It is expressed as the depth of water, that is in centimeters, to be removed in 24 hours from a drainage area. So if we get a drainage coefficient value, and if it is very low, it means giving a tile drain would be of little use. That is, the rate at which water is removed is very low, which means that there is no beneficial use of providing this tile drain. So it is analyzed in such a way. So our answer is, the drainage coefficient is expressed as a depth in centimeters of water drained off from a given area in 24 hours. The next question, when a flood occurs, the flood water, just by giving a proper direction, the system of irrigation so obtained is called. Now, such systems is what you call as an inundation system. So, we'll explain what an inundation system is. So, in this inundation system, what happens is that when extra rainfall occurs, or sometimes when flood occurs, the river will overflow its banks, right? Now, this overflowing or the excess water is being diverted through some field ditches thus created to my field. So this is temporary canals which will be running only during the season, rainy season, or when the excess water is available. So here it is told that it will be overflows in the rainy season, and so water flows to the land in the rainy season, or the inundation canal carries water only in the rainy season, and there will be no such regulators to control the flow also. That has to be noted. Then the next option was a perennial system, where the water is irrigation water is supplied throughout the year. Lift irrigation we already discussed, that is, the water is lifted from a surface source or subsurface sources by some methods and applied to the land. Now flow irrigation is a kind of irrigation where water which is flowing under gravity to fields, and the types of flow irrigation are inundation as well as perennial irrigation. The next question is, the artificial supply of water to soil for the growth of crops. Of course, it is a definition of irrigation. Irrigation means artificially applying water to soil for the growth of crops. Now, we'll see what other options are. Now, hydrology is a science which deals with the occurrence, movement, circulation of water on the earth. Hydrography is a study of large water bodies. Irrigation, as we mentioned, is a science of artificial application of water to plants. Hydrograph is a plot of rainfall intensity versus time. Now we'll see the next question. Sugarcane is just whether it is a perennial crop or it is a kharif or rabi crop. So we'll first see The answer for this question is option A, that is sugarcane is a perennial crop. So we'll see what is meant by kharif crops, perennial crops, etc. Kharif crops, or the so-called monsoon crops, are sown in April and then they are harvested in September. And rabi crops are also called as winter crops, or sometimes they are called as autumn crops also. Their period from sowing to harvesting is from October to March. Now, the famous or the important kharif and rabi crops are listed here. Here, the rice belongs to kharif crop, wheat is rabi crop, and similarly, you have to study about the groundnut and potato. That is, groundnut is a kharif crop and potato is a rabi crops. So, the importance of the kharif crop is that it requires about 2 to 3 times more water than rabi crops. And to talk about sugarcane, it is a perennial crop, that is, it requires water throughout the year. Okay, and then another some terms related are cotton, which is called as an 8-month crop. It takes about 8 months to mature. Wet crops means they require the crops which require irrigation is called wet crop, and dry crops are which does not require irrigation. So that is, they'll grow, the rainfall is sufficient for making them mature. So we'll move on to the next question. Question is 1 square kilometers of hectares is, that is a question. So we know that 1 hectare is given by 10 raised to 4 meter square, and then we know that 1 kilometer square is 10 raised to 6 meter square. And from here we can write, so the 1 meter square is equal to 1 by 10 raised to 6th of a kilometer square, right? And here I can write 10 raised to 4 meter square can be written as 10 raised to 4 by 10 raised to 6, that is that much kilometer square. So here I can write 10 raised to 4 meter square, which is equal to 1 hectare. 1 hectare will be equal to 1 by 100th of a kilometer square, or so you can write 1 kilometer square is equal to 100 hectares. So 1 square kilometers is equal to, that is 1 kilometer square is equal to 100 hectares. Now we'll move on to the next question. In case of a steep topography, the best method of irrigation is. Now, the correct answer is option C, that is sprinkler irrigation. So, we'll see one by one what other options are. See, in the border strip methods, what happens is that the whole land will be divided into a number of rectangular strips by some small levees or small bunds. And here the water will be circulated through a field channel, and this water is being fed onto this land, which will then fill up whole of the land, and then the irrigation will be done on this particular land. Now this is a surface flooding method, so it is not suitable for steep slopes because erosion will be predominant. The next one is a furrow method. Furrow method, what happens is that we'll divide the whole land into a number of small grooves called furrows, and here the valley portion is what you call as a furrow, where the water is being fed, and on the ridges we'll be cultivating the plants, and this plants will be getting water through the lateral percolation. Now in the sprinkler method, the water is applied in the form of a rain, so it is more suitable for this slope or steep slopes, etc. Here, when we cultivate plants, what happens is that the slopes will be preserved from erosion, and also through a system of well-defined sprinklers, water is applied in the form of a raindrops. So the erosion will be reduced, as well as the losses will also be reduced. Now, flow irrigation, as we know, water flows under gravity. Now, we need to understand what are the conditions favoring a sprinkler irrigation. So first one is, it is when the topography is irregular, you can go for any topography, the sprinkler irrigation is suitable. Then the second condition is where the soil is extremely permeable or impermeable. That is extremely permeable soils, if a surface flooding is applied also, there will be of little use because all the water will be seeped into the soil. If it's impermeable also, that surface flooding will lead to waterlogging. So in such situation, sprinkler is much more advisable. Then steeper land gradient, as I told, the erosions will be much lower. And when there is an high water table, in high water table areas, if we again practice some surface flooding methods, what would happen is that water table would again rise, right? So to avoid that, in such areas, when it is being, the sprinkler is being used, the amount of water used applied is also very less. So the chances of water table being very high is also less. Now again, when there is a scarce of water supply and shallow rooted plants, you can go for a sprinkler type irrigation system. So our question, the answer is sprinkler irrigation, that is option C. Next question is, which one of the following does not contribute towards waterlogging? So waterlogging, first of all, we need to understand what is a waterlogging. It is a condition where the water or the soil becomes saturated with the moisture. So in some situations, sometimes the water table may rise and the surrounding soils will all be filled with the water. Now, in such a situation, the land becomes less productive. So, as we all know, the plants will have some microbes, that is, some aerobic microbes in their roots. So, what happens when the soil it is completely flooded or it is being completely saturated is that this aerobic microorganisms get devoid of oxygen and they'll die off. And ultimately, the plant will also be wilted, and such situation is what you call as a waterlogged situation. So here from the options we can see, if there is an inadequate drainage is not proper, obviously it will lead to waterlogging. From seepage from unlined canals also will lead to waterlogging. Flooding of course will be leading to waterlogging, and excessive tapping of the groundwater, there are less chances that it will lead to waterlogging, because the water table will only decrease when there is an excessive tapping of groundwater. So thank you all for watching CE for Civil Engineering. If you like the videos, please like and subscribe the video. Thank you.